All right, I think we are broadcasting, Kathy.
Hey friends, Molly and I are happy to be with you today. We were just talking about how excited we are to hear such energy coming from our clients and our buyers and our operators and our other stakeholders in the industry last week and this week. There's new energy. There are people who are starting to get new enrollments. There are people all across the spectrum, but just know we have a level of excitement about where we're headed that we hope to deliver to you guys today. So welcome to the first webinar in our Reimagine series. And I want to take you back first to when you first started your company and the vision that you had for your company. And you thought about the wonderful things you were going to do for children and families. You had a vision of the best staff that was fully engaged with children and stable and engaged. I hope you had a vision for financial stability to allow you to invest back into your current school or schools, but also into yourself, because you guys have been with me. You've heard me preach this so many times. You cannot take care of anyone else if you don't take care of yourself first. So I want to take you back to that time when you had a vision for what you could accomplish. And I want you to know that you have that opportunity again right now. So as the founder of Hinge, I'm doing the same thing. I'm reimagining Hinge. What are all the things that we could do differently before we got into that crazy world of the last few years and we were running 1,000 miles an hour? We didn't have time to sit and think and vision and create. We have a beautiful opportunity to do things completely differently now. And I am going to be your biggest advocate and also maybe your biggest pain in the rear, because I want you to enter this time with complete confidence. Do not enter this time of change with fear. I want you to be bold and confident.
Great. Thank you so much, Kathy. I'm so excited to be here. We have a ton of people who are logged in live right now. And I know people are really anxious to get some awesome, great nuggets for marketing strategies moving forward post-COVID-19. Obviously, things look a little different right now. I want to go over first 5 things you can control right now. Then I want to move on to specific ideas you can implement in your preschool right now that will help with building your enrollment and getting you all full again. And then I want to go over what to consider when reopening. There's a lot going on, and I want to make sure you all have kind of a 3-week, 2-week, 1 week before reopening, kind of operational guideline, if you will, of things to consider before opening. So let's go over these one by one. So your narrative. One thing that I love this quote from the Harvard Business Review. So research shows that our brains think of companies not as objects, but as people. So that shows you that people, us, everyone, really want to be connected with, and they're seeing brands. They want to see brands as people. So, and whether we like it or not, our preschools are our brand. And I know Thad Joyner from Better Beans would absolutely agree with this. Whether you're intentional with your branding or not, you're a brand. So making sure when you think about your narrative that, remember, people want to hear from you and they want that personal approach. They want to know what's going on. Now, going further into your narrative. Your narrative is what you want your prospective and current parents to understand. So that would be things that you're probably already doing, but maybe you're not conveying. So it could be that your school's safe, it's clean, you're experts in our industry. It could be that we have the best knowledge of COVID-19 best practices for childcare. But a lot of the time, we're already doing a lot of the things like being safe and clean, but we're just not conveying it. So making sure that we're conveying that right now is really, really important. And then consistency is key with your terminology. So I know there's a lot of words are going out there right now with what's sanitizing and disinfecting and what's cleaning. And so knowing your terminology is really important because we're going to be educating our parents on our best practices. So tell them, what the difference is between sanitizing and disinfecting and cleaning. This is something I didn't know until COVID-19, that sanitizing is lowering the number of germs to a safe level. Disinfecting is killing nearly 100% of the germs, and cleaning is just removing the foreign matter. So just familiarizing yourself with those kind of terms are really going to make it easier for you to communicate. And also coaching your teachers on this and your directors on this, so they feel comfortable in communicating your message. So our elevator speech, that is something that I always coach on. Actually, when I coach on sales and tour conversions, I talk about an elevator speech, but we're not going to be talking about that today for the, converting a tour into an enrollment, but we are going to be talking about it in terms of COVID-19. So I would like to see everybody have an elevator speech on how they're handling COVID-19 and what policies they're going to be adapting in the future in their school. So that would be a 30-second summary on where you've been, where you are, and where you're going with COVID-19 in mind. So as owners, you may say, oh yeah, I know how to do that. I could do that off the top of my head. Well, that's great, but can your directors do it? And can all of your teachers do it? Because they're going to be the ones getting most of the questions. So making sure that your whole team is comfortable with their elevator speech to support your narrative. And then communication is obviously imperative with your narrative. So knowing who you're communicating with. Who? It's your current families right now. It's also your prospective families, which we're going to talk about. And remember, you're also probably communicating, hopefully, with former families who are in your CRM or following you on social media. And also, remember, our narratives is going out to everyone, really. So it's really everyone in your greater community. So responding versus reacting. So I love this because I think, when we're in testy times, it's important to remember to respond and take a deep breath rather than react. And I love the comparison. I think of someone who responds very well all the time, really, 100% of the time, is Oprah Winfrey. So a response usually involves some thought. Responses are often delayed, but rational and based on reason as well as emotion. So it's not just reason. You're balanced in that approach. And then reacting is typically an immediate response that's fully based on emotions and feelings in the moment. So I'm sure all of us have had a lot of reactions in the last month and a half since COVID-19, whether personally at home, having a big change of having, to homeschool all of your children, or just, being worried or scared. So it's been a very, very heavy in reaction. It's been a very reaction-based time right now. And so the difference though, so again, a director or an owner might say, oh yeah, I know how to respond. I do that all the time. But making sure if you have multiple sites, everyone is responding and not reacting. And also that your teachers don't react. And again, that goes back to the elevator speech and making sure that they're prepped and ready to go on that. And don't get backed into a corner. So I think that can kind of happen. And parents have a lot of questions right now. If you're closed, they're probably contacting you saying, why are you open? Or why are you opening? And again, there's not going to be one size fits all on what schools should do or shouldn't do. Every school is going to do what's right for them. And so making sure, you have 2 feet on the ground and you don't get backed into a corner and that you have a very rational response. But also, when you keep in mind for responding is action steps. So know where you're going, but then how to get there. So if you have a goal, make sure your team, especially your directors, know what your goal is and that the steps that you're going to take to get there. If your team has buy-in and knows where you're going, it's going to be a lot easier for them to have 2 feet on the ground and respond to people's questions. And obviously, always respond with your core values in mind. If you don't have core values, absolutely consider doing them, having your team involved in creating them. It's a really fun opportunity and exercise. And also, so I mentioned, directors and teachers being able to respond versus react, but especially remember your openers and closers. So the people who are going to be seeing your parents first thing in the morning and the ones that are seeing the parents when they're picking their children up. And then also making sure whoever's answering your phones is really prepped on the company knowledge of what's going on with COVID-19 and the message you want to relay. So adapting your policies, number 3. So I'm not going to go into a lot of operational ideas today. I know that there's a lot of content out about this, but I do feel like it's something that you can control right now. And so I want to talk about the operational side. So a lot of things that you can adapt to what's right for your school right now. That would be drop-off policies, temperature checks, limiting hours for certain age groups, versus shortening hours of operation. So, maybe, when you open back up, parents aren't dropping off until 8 a.m. when usually they drop off at 7 a.m. If you're realizing that, maybe you should change your hours for right now to save some costs. And then playground. Maybe you're going to use the playground for drop off and pickup. Educating your parents. So making sure you're clear with your communication on your policies, and then setting our parents' expectations. So I'd say the biggest mistake we can make is making all these changes and adapting our policies for great reason, but then not communicating that to our parents. So it's our job to educate our parents, and that's on us to do and convey and communicate with them. I have a whole another slide later on about communicating, but it's super, super important. So communicating your why, which goes right into your narrative. And then facilities. So I love the idea of, obviously we all know we have clean facilities, right? I like the idea of telling parents, we're cleaning continually. We're not just doing it like twice a day now, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times a day. We're constantly cleaning. And that's really important to convey to them right now. Be prepared and buy tons of supplies. I think we all were a little shocked how hard it was to get toilet paper, and it's still, I don't know why, it's really hard to get toilet paper still. So stock up your storage closets, have tons of materials for cleaning. And then retraining on cleaning. We all know that, we obviously, I think a lot of us have great best practices with cleaning, but we might be using new products and methods. So making sure that we're retraining on that. And then don't forget about the children, have fun with it, do age appropriate learning with, our hygiene practices. There's going to be obviously more of an emphasis on that. Another great idea is single-use lunch packaging. Well, it might not be as eco-friendly. Right now, it's really easy for kids to bring their own lunch and a brown paper bag and use like little Ziploc bags for their sandwiches than bringing their little lunch tote. Now, I know a lot of people serve lunch, so that's great too, but I'm just talking about people who maybe don't serve lunch. And again, all of these ideas, you're gonna have to choose what's right for your school. These aren't a one-size-fits-all. And then booties and inside shoes. So those booties you put on when you go into open houses or you're looking for a home. Maybe you would consider, in the future when we do start letting people tour again, everyone wears booties. Maybe everyone who comes into the building has to wear booties. I know Kathy and I and my mom and a lot of people at Hinge, we went to the World Forum in Macau, China, exactly a year ago, which was pretty crazy. And the Chinese preschools are incredibly clean. I was shocked, and it was really impressive. And in most schools that we went to, it was very common practice for the children to run into the school. Actually, they got hand sanitizer when they came into the school every single day, every child. They got temperature checks every day before they even came to the building. And when they got to the classroom, they took off their outdoor shoes and they put on their inside shoes that they kept at school. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's really, really great. But now I'm looking back on that and I'm like, wow, that's a great idea to implement now. We could even do that. And actually their teachers did it as well. So that's another idea of something to do right now. Now, again, these are just some ideas. There's just a few of them. We have many, many more. But these are great examples of adapting your policies and something you can control right now. Okay, I love this. Time spent, value received. So right now, lean on your trusted relationships with your vendors, say your bank, your childcare networks. I know we have a Shift conference every February, and we have a private Facebook group for that, and people have been posting questions. There's so many great private Facebook groups for preschool owners right now. Partner with your licensing, your local health department. I know that a lot of people have reached out to, their cleaning services, and their cleaning services have actually had extras of, soap and toilet paper and hand sanitizer and things that were really hard to order online initially. They reached out to those local partners. And then webinars. So I love webinars. We're doing an awesome series coming up. But make sure you're prioritizing the webinars that are right for you and your preschool's goals right now. And delegate, maybe have a director or an admin gal do the ones you can't maybe do right now. I don't think we should be sitting on, 10 hours webinars a week. We need to be spending a lot of time in our business and on our business. Now, we try to coach people to, try to work solely on their business so they can engage and grow their schools and work on quality. But right now, it's really important to spend time in your business. Know what's going on day to day in your schools so you can make the right decisions for you. And again, like I said, not every school is going to make the right decisions. So be really tolerant of each other and know that, we're all just doing the best we can. This is not a normal situation, and we're all doing what's right for, our schools and our communities. And begin with the end in mind. So time spent, value received, know where you are, know where you were with your enrollment before COVID-19, know where you are now, how many people you anticipate coming back, which we'll talk about in the marketing section, and know, your staffing numbers. It might change based on people maybe not wanting to come back to work. Maybe some people are really anxious to get back to work. So, so knowing where you are is really important to know where you want to go and where you want to put your time and where you should be prioritizing your time. And then get involved with your state association. This is huge. If you're not involved in your state association, which are these state groups that really advocate for the small business owners and specifically preschools. Here are a few of them. The Georgia one is the GCCA, the Virginia one is the VCCA, the great one in California called Sequel. If you're not involved or you've heard of them but you don't go to meetings, this is a really great time to get involved. There's a lot of legislation that's going to be going on, and there's a lot that's impacting us right now with lower ratios, with social distancing in mind. So now is the time to get involved And then hiring high quality staff. So I'm not going to talk too much about this because my mom is actually doing a webinar next week that's going to be amazing. And that's, I think, May 5th. And that's going to be great. So she has a whole hour of content on this, but I always like to talk about this because you can control it right now, and you shouldn't be marketing, especially without knowing your staffing needs and hiring high quality staff. So a few ideas. So right now, even if you're completely closed, you can still be working your Indeed and doing virtual interviews. Definitely offer hiring bonuses right now. That's a great idea. Consider good former staff. I know people get a little nervous with this one, but if someone left on good terms and it wasn't just maybe the right time, usually the grass is a little greener and on the other side, and it's usually usually people want to come back. So reach out to people who you may have really liked, but maybe it wasn't the right timing. Remember, 20%, it's a 20% unemployment rate right now, and 26.5 million jobs have been lost. So a lot of people are scared and really wanting to work. So now is a great time to be, again, working your Indeed. Keep your current staff engaged with Facebook Live and virtual meetings. A lot of people know that my family still has schools in Virginia. And one thing we've been doing is we've been doing Zoom meetings weekly with our teachers. And we've also been doing Facebook Lives, which has been so fun in our private Facebook group. And they have been loving it. And we actually have had such high participation that we're considering moving our weekly Monday night meetings that we do in person at each school to virtual every single week on Monday nights because everyone's been so engaged. And then encourage staff to stay on site when you are open again by, investing and, spending a little bit of money on getting local lunch delivery twice a week or doing potluck style lunches. And then improve your teacher snack and drink game. We don't want, 20 teachers at one location to be going off on their break to, 20 different places to get a snack or a lunch. We want them to be staying put so they're not going out and about. So make sure you're getting awesome snacks and drinks. That's 5 things you can control. Now we're going to go into marketing to increase enrollment, which I know everyone's super anxious to get into. So before we get into some concrete nuggets, I want to talk about communication during COVID-19. And what I really want to emphasize here is when you communicate, make sure you're not only communicating on one platform. So I see a lot of people doing just email. Oh yeah, I emailed our families, twice this week, and I'm going to do it twice next week, and it's been great. Do I think that's great? Yes. I love that you're communicating. I love that you're staying on top of it, but make sure you're using more platforms than just email. So use email, make sure you're participating in your Facebook, make sure you're doing, if you have a virtual day notes like tadpoles, make sure you're sending that out as well. Make sure you're calling your parents. Call each family enrolled at each school to check in, see what their return plans are, and call families also that have registered, because there are a lot of families that have registered at our schools, say since January, and they haven't started yet, and they're wondering what the heck is going on. So this is a great opportunity to build trust and goodwill with parents who have already paid, and also our parents who are our current family members at our schools. Leveraging social media, I think we've been doing an amazing job of this. I've been so impressed nationally with the use of Facebook Live, virtual learning, the storytelling, the fun activities I'm seeing online. The porch pickups have been so fun. We've done a few of those, and they've gone amazingly well. We actually ran out of bags on our last one because we had so many parents pick up activity bags for the porch pickups. And then one thing we're doing at our schools is our teachers are sending letters to their students. So we had a teacher say, "Hey, can I write a letter? Can I have the address of our kids, and can we write some letters?" And we were like, "Absolutely." And so that's a great way to communicate. That again is on a different platform. Like, who gets snail mail anymore? It's so fun to get it. So being creative with how you're communicating, and then also being consistent. And then also keep in mind the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. It's one of my favorite books, and if you haven't read it, I'd highly recommend it. I know a lot of you probably have. It's a very popular book. Okay, so key marketing points. Now we're getting into the good stuff. So the first point I have is you should never have to go back to basics. I'm thinking Thad Joyner for that one. If you don't know Thad, he's with Better Beans Branding. He's a friend of ours, and he's fantastic. And I was having a marketing discussion with Thad a while ago, and I was talking about our marketing needs at our school, and then I was saying, we're doing this, that's sophisticated, and that, and I was like, but I think we might need to go back to basics, with the weekly raffles and the testimonial contests, and He said, Molly, you should never have to go back to basics. And I was like, oh my God, you are so right. And I think people, including our school, got really complacent with the economy and how great it was going, and how many people were just enrolling. It was really, a lot of people were having a pretty easy time with it. And I think we took our fingers off the pulse on really, just working the things that really work, the basics. If you haven't gone to any of my presentations or conferences, I do some great basic marketing talks. And if you go to a Thrive or Shift event, I go over more specifics on that. But you should never have to go back to basics. And I think a lot of us right now with COVID-19, we're shocked how quickly something like this could happen. And now we're kind of all reevaluating our marketing. And then proper planning prevents poor performance. I'm always advocating for measurable goals. So make sure you have a plan. Make sure you know where you are before you make that plan, so you're not, wasting money. I hate wasting money on marketing. And so it's really important to know where you're going and have a plan. And then done is better than perfect. I know a lot of us can resonate with this one. If it's done, it's great. Don't wait for it to be perfect, especially right now. Time is of the essence. And then know your current openings and make sure that they're the true openings, and anticipate departures, especially with pre-K departures coming up. Make sure we're really filling the spots we really need. Like maybe it's a 2 spot, maybe it's a Todd spot. Making sure you're really working your CRM systems and your leads to know exactly where you stand, so you know exactly what you need to market to, and do targeted marketing. And then I love this one. During this time, think contribution, not conversion. So if you guys have a great service or you're doing virtual learning, just share it, and we'll talk about CRM in a little bit. But make sure you're just in a really sharing space. People really appreciate that. And again, it's going to create trust and goodwill in the community. And from a marketing standpoint, that's all you really need. So think contribution, not conversion right now. Now, marketing to increase your enrollment. So we're going to go right into the CRM that I was talking about. So CRM, your customer relationship manager, it's automated emails that go out to your database or clients. If you don't have a CRM, I'd recommend looking into one. They are either your full-time marketing assistant, or it's your insurance policy. If you're completely full with a big wait list, it's your insurance policy. If you're not full, it's your full-time marketing assistant. There are a lot of different CRM options out there. There's some really great ones. So I would definitely consider looking into that. Now, CRMs, I would want to see everyone updating their drip campaigns right now. Make sure you're adding video, make changes. Say you had a director leave, and you had her signature on a bunch of your CRM. Then make sure you put the new director's name in there. Add new pictures. I love the idea of doing a support local series. Pick 15 local businesses that you want to support, and do an email, a CRM drips highlighting them and saying, like, hey, we're supporting local here. You can go here for dinner, and they're doing family meals. Or when we open back up, you can go to this place. And start with, your families. If your families own local businesses, ask them and tell them you're doing this. And then also consider cross promotion. So say if you're going to do that for them, just say, hey, we're going to be doing this. If you want to, give our information out too, that would be great, or not, either way. The point is just supporting other people. And then make sure you're updating your CRM with new sanitation protocols with drip campaigns. So there's a whole campaign you can do on, the specifics you're doing to ensure your school is following the best protocols. And then porch pickups for CRM calls. So I know a lot of people are doing porch pickups right now for their current families while they are closed. But I love the idea of going in and looking at everyone who's ever toured your schools and doing a porch pickup for everyone who has toured. Even if they didn't choose you, who cares? I just love the idea of giving back and engaging people, and people really need activities to do with their kids right now. And it's a great opportunity to, again, build trust and goodwill. so what if they didn't choose to go to your school? But guess what? When someone says, hey, what preschools are in town? Like, what's the best one? They're probably going to mention you. Hey, we didn't choose them. But, oh my gosh, wow, they did something really great. And then engage current parents with upcoming holidays. Even if you're closed, there's some really fun opportunities to get involved in upcoming holidays, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Okay, so I want to talk about social media for a second. Facebook, I don't know if you haven't done this, try to do it. There's an option where you can self-schedule tours on Facebook. I love what I'm seeing with, hosting live meet the expert events for our parents. I'm loving all of the virtual learning. We actually just did virtual tours, and we do pre-recorded tours. And we just use an iPhone. I mean, it's not the most beautiful thing. I mean, not if we had a professional do it, but we just used our iPhone, and we had our awesome Miss Kimberly do a tour of each of our schools, and we put it on YouTube, and then I put it on our website. So it's a really great opportunity for people who are still looking for care to engage them and have them do a tour. And then I put a button at the bottom saying, schedule your in-person tour here. Now, we don't know when we're going to start doing those, but at least we'll have their information and know they're interested. It's also a great opportunity right now for YouTube to record some parent orientation segments and FAQs. People are really engaged with video right now. I'm sure you all have seen a ton of video come out. So now's the opportunity. And don't forget about Facebook. Utilizing highlights and posting videos are great. And don't get overwhelmed by all of these. These are just ideas. Choose a few and do them consistently, and you'll be great. So website. Website right now, make sure you have an option to self-schedule tours on your website if you don't have it. Putting your virtual learning, anything you're doing on your website is fantastic. I would encourage everyone to do a COVID-19 response of what you're currently doing. And if you're not comfortable saying you're closed, I would still have a section on your website talking about what you're going to be doing moving forward with COVID-19 and what your new or adapted policies are. And then summer camp. Now, I know every state's going to be different as far as reopening. And again, this isn't one size fits all for everyone. But if you're in a state that will be reopening sooner, or it's safe to do so, there are a lot of school agers who would really be interested in a summer camp, and especially a lot of parents who are interested in that right now. So make sure you're highlighting your summer camp. I know we did that on our website, and it says, I put a star at the bottom, dates are subject to change, given the COVID-19 updates or guidelines. So you can still put that, but you can still advertise it on your website. Don't reuse old themes, have fun, do something new, and definitely add an educational component, because these kids have been out of school for a very long time. Do something really fun that's educational, and then do like the slip and slides and fun stuff in the afternoons. And then update any new policies or adapted policies for before and after school care for fall 2020. And then for community, so marketing to your community, engage parents with pickups. So what I was talking about with porch pickups earlier, it's a great opportunity right now. We have Mother's Day coming up, and one thing we're doing Trader Joe's flower bouquets for all of our dads to pick up for the moms for Mother's Day. So we just did a big order at Trader Joe's, and we're also doing a little activity bag with like handmade, like materials for handmade cards for all their kids to do for the mom. So everyone's picking up on that Friday. They're going to pick up the little activity bag with the materials for the handmade cards, and then we're going to have buckets of flowers ready to go. So it's a great way, even if you're closed, to engage. Now, you can also do this if you're open. So utilize porch pickups, but also after COVID-19, I think we've been seeing a great response to the porch pickups. So why not try to do them every Friday? And when the parents pick up their children every Friday, they have a little activity bag, and the parent gets the activity bag for the weekend. I think one of the biggest silver linings that's come from COVID-19 is, parents spending a lot of time with their children, obviously, but they're doing a lot of, we're bridging the gap with home and education. And if we can continue to do that in the future, I think that's gonna be really, really helpful. And then challenge your team as far as community marketing to come up with 25 new ideas to come back better and stronger than you currently are. So this would be a fun brainstorming session for your team right before you open. You can also do it on Zoom, and everyone has to come up with, like, say 10 ideas, and there are no bad ideas. You'd be really surprised how many awesome ideas there are that your staff can come up with. And then retargeting your previous leads. So call every lost lead in your CRM, even if they've gone to another school. This is your opportunity right now to really stand out. And obviously, don't call them 5 times if they're not calling you back. But if someone toured 2 years ago, I would definitely call them right now. I don't think there are any lost leads personally. Someone who didn't choose us and, they went with someone else and we call them 4 years later, they might say, oh my gosh, yes, my sister just moved to town and she might want a tour. So keeping that communication open, and then also know your opening. So know exactly what you need to enroll, because it's going to help you target who you want to be calling, which I think you should be calling everyone. But especially if hey, I have 6 spots to fill in the 2-year-old room, like, you need to be going back and targeting who you actually need to call from who's toured in the last, 6 to 8 months. And then paper your town. So don't be afraid of print right now. And this is what, when you go back to the key points earlier with Thad Joyner, it's, you don't want to have to go back to basics, right? And so if you're at a point where you have to do that, then, there's a problem. So go back. So continue to do the right thing, which is always paper the town. And especially right now, advocate for your business. So don't be afraid of print. I know that we're in a really digital world, and I love marketing, digital marketing, but it's not a bad thing to be posting your flyers at local businesses once they open, of course. And then put a banner on your building saying we're open. I know a lot of us have awesome locations, and we have a lot of great visibility. So if you haven't bought a banner for your school, make sure you buy a big banner and it's saying, we're open, we're enrolling. And same with yard signs, like the politician yard signs, we have those out in all of our schools right now. And we put I think we put 20 out at each school at least, saying now enrolling. Let people know you're here and you're not going anywhere. And postcards, I remember when I was in high school, one of my jobs was to go all around town and put postcards in everyone's little mailbox. And it's so funny because, I spent so much time doing that, but we really did get a few leads from that. So don't be afraid of postcards. And then partner with local restaurants. Now's the time to maybe partner with someone and say, hey, would you mind giving out our flyer saying that we're open and enrolling for everyone who is ordering takeout? And in return, we would love to do a CRM drip to our thousands of people who have toured about your restaurant. You can even give us the menu. We can put it in our CRM drip. Don't be afraid to call people, especially people who are also struggling right now. There's a lot of empathy right now, and don't be afraid to hear no. It's okay. Call a few people and see where it goes. And then discounts or ambassador rates. So 2 weeks free for new enrollments. I of course, I'm not an advocate for discounts at all, but I will say discounts with a timeline I'm okay with. So in order to get someone in the door to enroll, will I give 2 weeks free? Yeah. Will I give 3 weeks free? Yep. Will I give a month free? Yes, I will. More than a month, I'd probably have to talk to my mom about that one. But what will entice people to come in and enroll their child? Because if you have the best school, you shouldn't be afraid of doing some really awesome big promos. Discount for 3 months. So I like the idea. So say, oh, it's too expensive. Okay, great. We can do this discount. We can do a 15% discount or 20% discount. for 3 months for the first 90 days, then your rate will go to X. That's totally fine. What I really don't like to see is discounts forever, because you give someone a discount, the 15 to 20%, and then all of a sudden they have another kid and they get the other discount, and all their kids have all these discounts, and it's really not fair to the families who are paying full price. So discounts with an expiration date, and make sure that's in your contract and that both parties have signed that's okay with them. And then consider doubling or tripling your referral fee right now. Say it's $100 right now, you get $100 towards tuition if you refer a family. I would say that's not enough. I would say you should do $200, $300, $350. Again, it depends on where you are, what your tuition rate is, what your market is. So again, it's not one size fits all for, I can't just say across the board, everyone should be 300, everyone should be 500, everyone should be 200, but consider doubling or tripling it. And then I know we have parent ambassadors. So we have a few people who are on a parent ambassador rate, and they do things for us in order to continue to keep that rate. It's usually people like we have parents who went to our school when we first opened, and now they're parents themselves. They're called our legacy parents, and so they get a certain discount, but they also are our biggest advocates, and so they are they're really helping us. Say they make Play-Doh for us. Say they are referring families. Say they're writing a review. There's so many things you can come up with a checklist and have them sign. But make sure everything is in some sort of a contract, because the second that someone isn't doing the designated responsibilities, you have to look back at that contract and say, oh, well, you're not doing these responsibilities, I have to bring you up to the regular rate. Again, you want to be fair to all families. And then implement hygiene practices to marketing. So this is the biggest takeaway, I think. If you're taking anything away from today, you should be implementing hygiene practices into your marketing efforts right now. So, so again, going back to the China story, when we went to the World Forum a year ago, when we were visiting preschools, there's this amazing preschool, and it was just the Disney World of preschools. And beautiful building and perfect grass, and the teacher resource area with all the art supplies was I'd say the size of most classrooms, probably 3 classrooms in most schools put together, at least maybe 4. It was massive. And so one thing they did was they turned off all the lights, and then they turned on these other lights. And they said, do you know what that is? And I said, no. And we all looked at each other no, what is that? And they're like, those are UV disinfection lights that sanitize the classrooms every single night. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, of course we have a cleaning crew, and where we do all of that. But they were like, but when we go home for the day, we turn all of these lights on, and it disinfects doesn't disinfect, it sanitizes the classrooms. So that was really awesome, and they market that. So I was thinking now, wow, what a great best practice. Now, is that expensive? Yes. But would it maybe be worth it in the long run? Maybe. I mean, if you're at the top of your market and you're doing okay and you can invest in something like that, that's pretty awesome. Sanitary protocols, marketing rollout in your tour packet. So make sure all your protocols, how you're disinfecting classrooms, all the steps you're taking to keep your schools clean. Make sure you have a whole section of that on your tour packet. And then also make sure you have, like I said, drips on your CRM, but make sure that they're specifically about that. Do some YouTube videos about your best practices, how you're pivoting post-COVID-19, and always update Facebook. So do a post, but definitely do videos. Videos are really key right now. And show off your supplies on tours. So when you do start doing in-person tours, which I'm not sure when that's going to start happening, I can't tell everyone when that's going to happen, but when you do, and when it's safe to do so, definitely show off your laundry room or supply closet with all the supplies you have. Show that you're prepared for, if we have flare-ups in the future, you're ready to go, you're prepared. And obviously, elevator speech for tours on post-COVID-19 policies and procedures. So I was talking about the elevator speech earlier, about post-COVID-19 and how you've adapted policies and how you're, really rocking it on best practices. Make sure that obviously whoever is giving the tour can really talk about that and sell that. And then tour stops. So I get a lot of interest in the tour stops that we have at our schools. So Better Beans Branding did our tour stops at our schools, and they are fantastic. Basically, a tour stop is whenever you have a tour, there are these beautiful signs that highlight, your unit, the unique selling points for your school. So, so a tour stop, I think, is really awesome. If you haven't invested in it, it's a great opportunity to. And so now is a great time to do hygiene signs. So Better Beans Branding did a mock-up for us for today's webinar. And this is a great idea because, now when you're going through your tour in your building, you can stop at the sign and say, it says cleanliness and sanitation. You can talk about, our number one priority is the safety of our children and staff, and, you can read the rest. But it's a great opportunity to highlight what you're doing well and how you pivoted through a hard time with COVID-19 and how, you've adapted and you're prepared. Okay, now we're going into what to consider when reopening. And I think I'm okay on time. I think I might actually finish right on the dot at 11. We'll see. Or 11 my time. So 3 weeks out, here are a few things to consider. Definitely, if you have not done so, send out surveys to your families. You can do one survey, you can do a few, but if you're just doing one, if it's a few weeks before opening, survey questions may be, do you intend to enroll a younger child in the next 6 months? Do you have an older child who'll be interested in attending our summer camp program? Indicate desired week your family can commit to coming back full time, because we need to know how to staff our schools, right? Please indicate your child's age when they will return. And then this is important. Please indicate daily drop-off time. So, if all of our kids are getting dropped off, at 8:30, then, we really shouldn't be open at 7. You don't want to be, accumulating those costs for staffing. So consider changing or shifting your hours operationally. If you get a ton of feedback saying that everyone's going to drop off between 8:30 and 9, or maybe everyone's going to be, dropping off at 7:15, but maybe they're picking up super early now because they're working from home. So then, yes, of course, indicate pickup time, and then also how long do you intend to use our services. So these are just a few ideas. You can use them, you can not. But definitely send a survey out to your families. Also, 3 weeks out, plan for an outbreak, whether we like it or not. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like this is just going to go away overnight, the COVID-19. So make sure you're prepared if it does happen, because it might. And we want to make sure you're prepared. So write a sample letter to your parents. Decide, what rooms will be closed in a what-if scenario. And how many days you think you'll need to be closed for. I would contact the local health department to get advice on this, licensing, and I would also go to cdc.gov. They have some fantastic materials for preschools, and also have quotes from a few cleaning crews lined up, just so you have someone you've already spoken to, their price, and you already have a contact. Again, being responsive, not reactive. If you're prepared, you can be responsive. 2 weeks out, call every parent. So one thing we've done, and we've done quite a few times actually, is we've called every parent enrolled just to check in on them and see what their current situation is. So confirm if they're coming back, when they're coming back, and maybe they're not coming back for like 3 or 4 months. A lot of people, a lot of parents have had to have their parents come into town to watch their kids. They've had to find alternative care because it's hard to work from home with, especially say a baby and a 2-year-old. So that you need to give them, a little bit of leniency to shift back over to full-time care. For those who have lost jobs, offer to not raise rates until 2021, or hold their spot if they can give you a 30-day notice of when they can return. I think now is the time to be really empathetic, obviously not to the detriment of your business, but if you can be empathetic and flexible, do so. And then anticipate a staggered opening. So I know that a lot of us kind of anticipate a grand reopening, like one day we'll just be open and it'll be great, and we won't have to social distance. But I think what everyone is seeing now is that as a lot of states are doing, it's going to be a staggered reopening of states, of businesses, of normal life. So anticipate a staggered opening in your business. So anticipate that maybe 50% of your school will come back, but then maybe it'll take a few more weeks to get back to that 75, 80%. Maybe it'll take a few months. And as you're evaluating that and as you roll out, always look back at your marketing efforts and where you are and where you need to target your leads. And then 1 week out. So this is more operational as well. Make sure you're posting hygiene signs. Again, the cdc.gov has amazing signs that you can just post a ton of different ones. Hold a training for staff. Definitely make sure you do elevator speech role play. And also maybe do like a game show with maybe a buzzer and like someone asks a question. So say the director asks, a hard question from a parent on some cleaning protocols. And then you have a buzzer and you have two teachers up there and they buzz the little buzzer and, they win something because they answered it great. Make it fun. And then set expectations with your parents and staff through education on new policies. Again, they need to be educated on what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then here are the policies we've gone over before. And then when you're open. Clean continuously. Consider cleaning things you may not normally clean. So playground equipment, window seals, like anything that you would think that like, oh yeah, we don't need to do it, like do it now and document it. Provide plenty of hand soap. Don't forget about the lotion. And then consider, essential worker thank you projects. And then consider a fun reopening ceremony. Now, when I say reopening, it's not grand reopening. I'm just thinking like just have fun with some sort of idea. Maybe the teachers are all clapping when, the kids are all dropped off. Have fun with it. Brainstorm with your team on ideas like that. And then don't forget about the fun raffle prizes. Do a raffle every week for 4 to 6 weeks, for 8 weeks, for 12 weeks. For however long it takes to keep people engaged and talking about you. So post them on Facebook. But this is one thing that I've noticed. I've noticed that, a lot of preschools, you should do that. Like I'd say like 2 or 3 years ago, everyone was posting raffles and giveaways, and then it kind of stopped. But also the economy was really good. And so people kind of stopped doing that, and they kind of were like, oh, people are coming anyways, it's fine. Make sure we, go back and are doing the best practices again. And then don't stop doing them. And then testimonial giveaways after opening, do testimonial contests. Then when the time comes, in-person tour hygiene protocols. Make sure you have that in place and make sure you have your, procedure. So when someone walks in, what will you do? Will they have to hand sanitize their hands? Will they have to put booties on? Will they have to wear a mask? Will you supply the mask? Will you ask them a series of questions? Will you have their temperature taken? Now, it might seem like a lot for me to talk about right now, but definitely have a plan in place. And then this is fun. So be creative and adapt to the new circumstances. I think we're so good at this as an industry. But this is a great hand washing timer that we bought on Amazon, and it's so fun. So the teacher can press it and the kid washes their hands until the light turns green. And then if you can, of course, check with licensing. Wall-mounted hand sanitizer station. Obviously check with licensing. That can never be within reach of children. We all know that. And then, consider like a hand washing station outside, maybe on the playground. Again, check with licensing, check with your state. And then also consider split shifts for teachers. So maybe teachers work 4 hours a day or 5 hours a day straight through rather than taking that hour break to to make sure people aren't, going back and forth, and also making sure, that they're not covering breaks in other rooms. And you know what? I think we made it through, Kathy. We got through everything today. I have tons of more ideas, but this was good for today. I have lots to share at our Thrive conference in the fall.
That was fantastic information. Thank you so much. There are such great questions. So let's take a couple of questions. Lots of people asking about slides and recordings. All of the recordings from all of our webinars are on our website at hingebrokers.com. This one will be available by tomorrow for you to view as much as you want. We will send the slides to registered participants. So we got that question a good bit. We will be happy to do that. And I want to share one idea I heard from someone locally this week that I thought was great. And then I'll hit you with the questions. Someone told me that they drove by a neighbor's house and there was a beautiful, colorful sign in the neighbor's yard that said, "Your blank family misses you." So of course the blank was the school name. And they had sent their staff out to put a sign in every child's yard. And of course, how special that made the child and the family feel. But everyone riding by that now has this perception of that company as a very progressive, engaged company. So I thought that was a fantastic idea.
I love that.
Molly, first question, could you talk more about a porch pickup? What is that and how does it work exactly?
Absolutely. So porch pickup is a great way to keep families engaged while you're closed. Or say you're only open to essential workers and that's it. It's still a great way to keep your currently enrolled parents engaged and kids engaged. So it's typically, you get these, say, brown bags or white paper bags, and you put an age-appropriate activity for each age group. So say you do, 3 and older, a little bag, a twos bag, toddler twos activity bag, and you can even do a baby bag. We did a baby bag this week. And you put little instructions, you staple instructions on each bag, and it has the materials in it. So one we did was, for our pre-K bag, we did little marshmallows with toothpicks, and that was our STEM activity. We did a pom-pom activity recently. There's so many fun things that we can do, and we're such, preschool people are so creative, and we have all these supplies closets full of, anticipating we would have been open. So go in your supply closets and look at what you have, and give some awesome activities out. And also our parents have been loving it. They've been saying thank you so much. We're running out of things to do at home. We actually ran out at 2 schools yesterday of porch pickup bags because we didn't anticipate everyone coming and getting one, but almost every single person who's enrolled at the school came and got them. So we had to actually supply more this morning. So it's a great way to keep everyone engaged and talking about you, especially keep the children engaged.
Love it. Love it. Could you also describe more about what a drip campaign is and how that works?
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with a CRM, customer relationship manager, there are a few great options out there. I love any CRM that's great for our industry. It would be childcare CRM, IntelliKids. There are a bunch out there. Do demos and see what's right for you, see what you can afford. But a drip campaign, so if you get, say, these automated emails from, say, Nordstrom, which I get them a lot, and they say, "Hi, Molly, like today we're having a sale on X, Y, and Z." And I see it, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great, awesome, and maybe I'll shop." But then maybe a few days later, you'll get another email from Nordstrom. "Oh, it's springtime, we have a spring sale." And then a few days later, I'll get one on, "Oh, it's Mother's Day coming up, don't you want to get your mom something?" So these awesome automated emails that will engage your clients. So for childcare, it's about, usually you get added to a CRM, customer relationship manager, if you have toured. So even if someone hasn't toured, even if someone did not choose to go to your school, but they have toured, you can still reach out to them. And what I like to see, Kathy, I'm a big advocate for a blog on a childcare website, because I always want you to show up first on your website. on Google search engine. So, so we have repurposed all of our blogs that are on our website. And so all of the people who have toured us but haven't enrolled with us get all of our blogs. So they still get awesome, engaging content that's helpful for them all the time, say once a week. And they're not unsubscribing because we're giving them valuable content. We're still establishing ourselves as the expert, and we're building trust and goodwill, because honestly, even if they didn't choose us, we still want them to communicate with us. You know, we're a community.
Beautiful, thank you. You talked, I think you probably answered this question, but there were several questions about what is a CRM, how do we use it? Anything else to say there?
Yeah, I would do just, what I would do is I would go on something like, I would look up childcare CRM, IntelliKids. I'm blanking on other ones, but I would just look those two up. I'm sure other ones will pop up from searching those, and I would request a demo. But basically, they're continually reaching out via email automatically to engage potential leads who have contacted you. And really, it's really, really valuable if you're trying to get enrollment and get full. And also people who are already full, they've created amazing amounts of wait lists, and they're continuing to engage through CRM.
I think their automated functions helps your team too, right? You can preset responses to prospective parents and
absolutely, yeah. You can do everything yourself. You can do an email about your story, your why, your mission, why your staff are, you know, great and so high quality. And basically you get to control your narrative, everything that goes out to people who are interested in your school.
Right. I think that's one example of what we feel in the industry has been a huge inflation in what you've needed to do to be the best in your community. And really quickly over the last 2 or 3 years, we said in the beginning, now is the time to reinvent yourself. And that's just one of the many ways you can implement things now that will have you ahead of the game when you're back full swing. Could you talk more about UV lights? You mentioned misters and UV lights. Talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kathy, I'm sure you remember that one school we went into in China who had these UV disinfecting lights. And it was pretty incredible, the magnitude they had. I mean, they were massive lights. I mean, they were throughout the entire rooms, many of them on the ceilings. And you wouldn't have been able to tell if you, you know, I wouldn't have noticed if they didn't point it out. But if you look up UV disinfecting lights, you can actually, if you Google it, you can actually rent them, but you can also have them installed. They are very pricey, but it's something to consider if, you know, you have the savings or you want to invest in something. It's a great marketing tool if you can afford it. It's something to look into, and just, it's another idea of how to be creative during this time. And I mean, I think a lot of people are going to remember COVID-19 and remember 2020. And I think that people are going to remember this for, 5 to 10 years. I mean, people are really going to remember this. So I think that kind of investment would be really helpful if you can afford it, of course, to invest in your school.
Great. We have Angela is reminding us that was Imagine School in Beijing that we've been.
Yes. Oh, and they were great. Beautiful schools. I mean, I had such a great time. I mean, all the schools we went to in China and Hong Kong were incredible. These ones were just stunning, and the amount that they're putting back into their school and their teachers was pretty incredible.
It was fantastic. A couple of people you mentioned to have a template reopen letter ready that you could use. To have a sample reopen letter. Can we provide, or do we have, or can we produce a template reopen letter that we could put on our website for people?
I can reach out to a few people and see if they'd be willing to share.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think also, you know, everyone's situation's different. So, you know, there's not really one size fits all. Hey, we're reopening. I mean, People might be doing a staggered opening. People might be only opening to essential workers. So I think it's important to know that, I mean, I will absolutely reach out and see. But I think there's not going to be one letter for everyone. So if we can provide something, just know that it's probably not going to check all of your boxes, and you're going to have to add quite a bit to it to, make it specific for your school.
We did have a template letter that we provided to everyone in one of our very early webinars. It's on our website, but it was related to closing. So we're moving quickly here. Someone would like to know more about raffles. You mentioned that everyone had done raffles and they weren't familiar. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so raffles are a great way to engage current families, but also potential families. So a great way to engage potential families would be anyone who tours gets entered into a raffle, and whoever, you can just do a drawing for the raffle. You can have, a bunch of pieces of paper in a mason jar. You could do it a more professional way, but you can just do a Facebook Live and say, hey, we're doing our raffle this week. All the people who have toured in June are eligible for this brand new grill for, say for Father's Day. But you can have fun with it. You could do a lawnmower. You could do a grill. You could do. I've seen people do vacations. I've seen people do family trips to Disney World. You could do a $50 gift certificate to an ice cream shop or a family dinner place. But it's just a really fun way to get people, excited, and but to do them consistently is really important. And I think, what I was saying was that, we I think a lot of people took their foot off the pedal with regular marketing techniques, and because we were kind of just so lucky to be in a great economy. And so I think a lot of people were doing that, 4 or 5 years ago, and then they kind of were like, oh, we don't really need to do that anymore. But here we are, and we do need to be doing that. And so now I think the lesson is to continue to do all of that, and to never let up on any marketing efforts, even if they seem small or basic.
Absolutely. A couple of people have pointed out that there have been questions about whether UV lights are safe for people. Actually used at night when there was no one in the building.
Exactly.
Certainly, these are very new ideas that we're looking into and investigating. We're not aware of schools in the U.S. that have those yet. We are aware of a lot of people investigating how whatever options they can come up with in new building design, whether they're sanitizing misters in the rooms or whether they're appropriate lights that kill germs. So just know we're going to keep throwing ideas at you guys, but really need to investigate how to do that and when to do it.
Absolutely. These are all ideas. You always want to check with your licensing on anything, any changes you're going to do, if you're going to remodel, if you're going to be using a mister. I know you mentioned a mister a few times, Kathy. I mean, I've heard of a few people getting misters, and they're green misters. There's no chemicals in them. But anything that you do that's going to be different, I would absolutely check with licensing. This is an idea that we saw in China being implemented, but obviously do your own investigating. I don't want to take responsibility for that. But definitely, that point is to be super creative and be open to new ideas, and obviously do your own investigating.
Right. Thank you. Let's do a couple more. I know I'm keeping you long and everyone has a lot to do here, but thank you for sticking with us. What's your opinion of teachers wearing masks? Is that scary for children? How do they manage it? What would you do?
Well, I know that I can see where people are coming from on the masks. I think, it's going to be hot this summer. I think, working with kids, it's not like you're working at a desk and you're not really moving. You're up, you're down, you're lifting kids. So I think it's, for a lot of people, they're not as excited about it. But there are a fair amount of teachers, and I know, for our school, there are a few teachers who, aren't comfortable coming back to school unless everyone is wearing a mask, because they have someone who's immune compromised at home. So I think we're going to have to just see how it goes. I would recommend the masks. I would do some sort of a communication with the parents beforehand to tell the children, oh, this is what Miss So and So is going to look like, and maybe send a picture of that teacher or a video, or do some kind of communicating. We ordered masks with fun patterns, so that makes a little bit of a difference. But I think we're just, we're all kind of learning right now. There's no like right or wrong answer. I know everyone's supposed to be wearing masks while we go outside. So I think a best practice probably right now, and if people are opening right now, is for everyone to wear a mask. But I think this is so ever changing, and we're constantly checking the news, checking in with our governor, checking CDC.gov. And it's really evolved and changing. So check with licensing, check with your health department. And again, it's going to differ by state. So check your local like health authorities.
Someone is asking, and I'm not sure how deeply you've investigated this, is the hand sanitizer counter, as any idea of the cost range of that?
I do not know, but I would, before you do anything, kind of like the UV lights, definitely check with licensing. I know that, hand sanitizer can never be within reach of children. And we all know as educators that there's nothing better than warm water and soap as far as getting, germs off our hands. So obviously, I think the best practice is, children come in the morning, every child gets their hands washed for a certain amount of time. And then before they go home too, and the hand washing goes on throughout the day. The hand sanitizer is more of a backup for adults, but also for people who may be touring in the future. But yeah, I wouldn't lead with the hand sanitizing, but it's a great option to have, and have it on the wall and have it high enough. And remember, check with licensing for tours, or we have people who come into our buildings who are maintenance, who are checking our internet. And so making sure that people who are coming into our building who aren't regularly in our buildings, making sure that we have masks for them and have a whole protocol ready for those kind of scenarios.
Just to piggyback, someone said that they had fun masks made from Disney character material and the kids were fine. So that's a neat idea. Can you talk a bit more about a parent ambassador? What a sample contract looks like? What are their responsibilities? Great idea.
Yeah. Essentially it's just you just write into their contract. So you're not really creating a separate contract. You can just put it into their enrollment contract when they enroll. And you just say, you will be receiving this % discount until this date. And at this date, we will be reevaluating this discount. So I would not have it be forever. And I think sometimes that's where people get into trouble, is there's no contract A stating the rate. And then there's no phrase in there that says the date that you will be reevaluating that rate. So make sure if you are going to be doing a discount, and then you can say, in order to continue receiving this test discount, you must do 3 of the following 15 things, and then give them options, and they'll check it off and sign their initial. And yeah, so that's how I would write it, that right there.
Awesome. Thank you. Someone is asking how we think about these issues with those that are working with family childcare homes. And I'll get your opinion, Molly, but it's my opinion that the concepts are the same, the venue's different. So you may be operating in a childcare center or other building. You may be operating in your home. I think that the concepts are the same. Would you agree, or is there anything you want to add to that?
I would agree. I think we need to lean on each other as far as, communicating our best practices and sharing. And, if you can, reach out to other competitors in your area right now to, see what their best practices are. We really need to be sharing with everyone right now because it's best for our community and our children. So, don't be afraid to reach out to others. I would absolutely reach out to people on, private Facebook groups for preschool owners. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, learn from other people's best practices and absolutely go to cdc.gov for best practices. They have some amazing information.
Right. I'm sure there are some forums specific to family childcare homes. I can see the difference being the environment specifically in the home that the children are in, who else is in the home. Those would be unique to a family childcare home. And Brenda, if you can't find an appropriate forum to connect, certainly let us know. We'll see if we can help you. One of the things I have always adored about this community, and it's showing up now better than ever, is people are willing to share and help. And all you have to do is get connected. And there is so much information out right now and ideas. And like Molly said, you have to take the best ones that fit your particular situation. Every situation's different. Every demographic group, every state, every individual owner. So take the ones that make the most sense to you. So Molly, that was such fantastic information, and we so appreciate the time and energy you put into pulling that together for us. I might want to do a couple of shout outs. We've got big groups from some of our collaborators in the industry. We've got a group from KLA here, so thank you for being here. There's a big group from Columbia Academy in Maryland. Kevin Price and his team from Georgia are here from Apple Tree, and we've got a good many friends from Big Blue Marble. So we are sorry again, we maxed out the system. If you're watching this by recording, let us know if you have any questions if we didn't answer those here. And thank you to everyone that took the time to join us. We have 2 more scheduled webinars in this Reimagine series, and there will be more as content is developed. Next Tuesday, Kathy Petchel will present staff strategies, bringing your staff back and how you keep them engaged and excited about what's going on in your school. That's next Tuesday, May the 5th. The following Tuesday, May the 12th, I will be talking about the new financial operating model. We believe you're going to have to make changes in the way you operate. Some costs will go up, including most likely staff costs. We could have a change in ratios. We don't know how long that will last. We believe that cleaning protocols will change probably permanently. So we want to help you reimagine from a financial standpoint and be bold and not lead into this change with fear, but with confidence. And we have some very concrete ideas for you about how you not only offset that, but you enter this new world with a new confidence and new creativity. So we hope you'll join us for those. Please keep the questions coming. Let us know what ideas you have for continued content. And once again, thank you so much, Molly.
Thank you. That was so fun. And thanks for everyone for jumping in. I know we had a ton of people pop on this webinar. So it's super exciting to see so many people be so enthusiastic about getting full.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, friends. We'll see you soon.